What would you do if your children were 30 minutes late coming home? An hour? 2 hours? At what point does worry transform into something much darker? Whitney Decker faced this nightmare on Friday evening, May 30, 2025. Her 3 daughters had left for what should have been a routine visit with their father. 9-year-old Paityn, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia never returned home. The man they trusted had vanished without a trace, but this wasn't just any father who'd gone missing with his children. This was Travis Decker. A 32-year-old Army veteran with specialized skills that would soon make him nearly impossible to find. Travis Decker wasn't always living on the edge. He had once been an Army Ranger who served in Afghanistan with distinction. He belonged to the 2nd Battalion, 503rd Infantry Regiment, part of the legendary 173rd Airborne Brigade. These elite soldiers were trained in advanced survival techniques, including caching, pre-positioning supplies in remote locations for extended off-grid survival. Travis could reportedly survive in the mountains for months at a time. The same training that made him a formidable warrior would soon make him America's most elusive fugitive. Something had changed in his mind. His ex-wife Whitney had been documenting troubling behavior for months leading up to that fateful Friday. Court papers revealed a decorated veteran slowly falling apart. Travis was homeless, living out of his white GMC Sierra pickup truck. He moved between motels and campgrounds across Washington state with no fixed address. The structured military life he once knew was crumbling around him. The warning signs were mounting with each passing week. There were outbursts where he'd storm into Whitney's home demanding to see the girls. Strange episodes occurred during visits where Travis would disappear, leaving the children frightened and confused. One particularly disturbing incident saw 5-year-old Olivia calling her mother in tears, unable to find her father during what should have been supervised time together. Most concerning of all, 8-year-old Evelyn had returned home with unexplained injuries that raised serious concerns. Yet Whitney continued honoring the court-ordered visits. "I do not want to keep Travis from the girls at all," she had written to the court. "To the contrary, I have bent over backwards to facilitate that relationship." She believed in preserving the father-daughter relationship despite her growing concerns. Was this maternal instinct trying to do what's best for her children? Or was fear already creeping into her decisions? Travis had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder but wasn't taking medication. He was supposed to seek mental health treatment as part of their custody arrangement. There was no evidence he'd followed through. His military service was ending badly too. Travis had stopped attending mandatory National Guard drills over a year ago and was facing disciplinary discharge. The man who had once been part of an elite brotherhood was now completely alone. Perhaps most telling was his recent behavior pattern. Travis had been talking about getting rid of his dog due to housing struggles. For many people, abandoning a loyal pet signals they're planning something permanent, something they don't expect to return from. Friday, May 30th, 5 o'clock in the evening. Travis arrived at Whitney's home to collect his daughters for their scheduled 3-hour visit. But something was different this time, and Whitney noticed immediately. He seemed quieter than usual, behavior that was completely out of character for the normally talkative father. The girls climbed into their father's pickup truck, probably excited for another adventure with Dad. None of them knew this would be their final journey together. 8 o'clock came and went. No sign of Travis or the girls returning home. Whitney tried calling his phone repeatedly. Straight to voicemail. By 9:45 p.m., her maternal instincts were screaming danger. She called police to report them missing. "He's never done this before," she told the responding officer. But there was something else that should have triggered every alarm. Whitney revealed that Travis was experiencing mental health issues and had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Here's where the system failed these children in the most devastating way possible. Whitney begged police to issue an Amber Alert, the emergency broadcast system designed to mobilize entire communities when children are in immediate danger. She was denied. Because Travis had custodial rights and this appeared to be a late return rather than an abduction, the case didn't meet the threshold. It was a parent with custodial privileges, and the children had not been returned home on time, explained State Patrol spokesperson Chris Loftus. But Whitney knew her ex-husband better than anyone. She knew this wasn't ordinary lateness or a simple misunderstanding. How many precious hours were lost while bureaucracy delayed action? An endangered missing person alert was finally issued on Saturday. Nearly 24 hours after the girls had vanished into the Washington wilderness. For a trained soldier who could survive months in hostile territory, 24 hours was a lifetime head start. By Saturday morning, Travis's white GMC Sierra had been spotted on traffic cameras. The vehicle was heading westbound on Highway 2 from Wenatchee. The license plate D20165C was broadcast across the entire region. But where was he taking the children? Law enforcement mobilized quickly once they understood the severity. Multiple federal agencies joined the search effort, including the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and U.S. Marshals. Chelan County deputies, detectives, emergency management, even a Homeland Security helicopter swept the mountainous terrain of central Washington. They were hunting a man specifically trained to evade capture. Travis's military background revealed the scope of their challenge. If he'd been planning this disappearance, he could have stashed supplies anywhere in the vast Cascade Mountains using his military training. Was this a desperate father's misguided attempt to start a new life with his daughters? Or was something much darker unfolding in the Washington wilderness? The answer came on Monday, June 2, at 3:45 p.m. A Chelan County deputy spotted something that would haunt him forever. Travis's white pickup truck, sitting abandoned near Rock Island Campground on Icicle Road. The scene told a chilling story that investigators will never forget. Evidence of violence was found across the tailgate. Inside the vehicle, they found car seats, blankets, food, and personal belongings scattered throughout. Signs of what should have been a family camping trip. But where were Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia? And where was Travis? 75 yards from the abandoned truck, hidden in the remote terrain that Travis knew so well, searchers made the discovery that would devastate an entire community. The 3 girls had been found. The preliminary medical examiner's findings revealed the tragic reality. The medical examiner confirmed the tragic loss of all 3 children under circumstances that deeply affected investigators. Evidence at the scene suggested this was a planned tragedy rather than impulsive. Investigators found evidence scattered throughout the area that confirmed their worst fears. This wasn't a moment of sudden psychological break. This was planned. Federal investigators would later discover that Travis had been researching relocation to Canada in the days before the murders. He had been searching Google for "how to relocate to Canada" and "Jobs Canada." The evidence suggested he had planned to flee the country after killing his daughters. But what she didn't know was that 4 days earlier, her ex-husband had been conducting these searches. Travis Decker himself had vanished completely from the scene. He had disappeared into the 2.5 million acres of the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest like smoke in the wind. The manhunt intensified dramatically once the full scope became clear. More than 100 officers from multiple federal agencies mobilized resources while helicopters swept the mountainous terrain and ground teams followed every possible lead. Over 500 tips poured in from the public. A $20,000 reward was offered for information leading to Travis's arrest. His face appeared on wanted posters across the Pacific Northwest and beyond. Yet Travis Decker remained a ghost in the forest. Reports came in from Idaho about possible sightings near McCall. Police swarmed the area, only to come up empty-handed. Authorities began warning residents in remote areas to secure their properties and outbuildings. If Travis was still alive, he might be desperate enough to break into cabins seeking supplies. As the search continued, more details emerged about his mental state in the months leading to this tragedy. Whitney's court filings painted a picture of psychological deterioration that had been building for some time. Since our separation, it has become clear that Travis has been struggling to maintain stability in his life, she had written to the court. The decorated war veteran wasn't just physically homeless. He was emotionally adrift, cut off from the structure and purpose that had once defined his entire identity. What drives a father to murder his own children? Whitney's nightmare was just beginning in ways she never imagined. Not only had she lost her 3 daughters in an unthinkable way, but she also faced a terrible reality. She had honored court-ordered visitation despite documenting Travis's increasingly unstable behavior. She had believed in the importance of maintaining the father-daughter relationship, even when warning signs were mounting. Something broke inside of him, Whitney said through her attorney. He would not have allegedly done what he did if he was himself. A GoFundMe set up to support Whitney quickly raised over $750,000, showing how deeply the community was affected by the tragedy. The donations came with messages of support from across the nation, but also painful questions that haunt everyone involved. Could this have been prevented if someone had acted sooner? Whitney's lawyer made a statement about systematic failures that deserve examination. This was a tragedy that could have been completely avoided had officials intervened. She was referring not just to the delayed alert system, but to a broader pattern of missed opportunities. A mental health system that failed to track treatment compliance. A family court system that prioritized parental rights over mounting safety concerns. And a military apparatus that discharged struggling veterans without adequate follow-up care. Today, Travis Decker remains at large and is considered extremely dangerous. He faces charges of 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping. If captured and convicted, he could face life imprisonment or even the death penalty. Authorities believe Travis could be anywhere in North America at this point. His specialized military training makes him especially dangerous and difficult to track. Every day that passes makes his capture less likely. Every sunrise over the Cascade Mountains might illuminate his hiding place, or shine down on his unmarked grave. The FBI's wanted poster remains active. The $20,000 reward stands unclaimed. Somewhere in America, an accused child killer potentially walks free among us. This case forces us to examine uncomfortable truths about our systems and safeguards. Veterans face disproportionately high rates of PTSD, depression, and other mental health challenges after military service. But what makes this case particularly troubling is how specialized military training potentially amplified both the capacity for violence and evasion skills. The same government that provided these lethal capabilities had discharged Travis without adequate support systems for civilian reintegration. His borderline personality disorder had allegedly gone untreated despite court orders requiring mental health intervention. There was no mechanism ensuring compliance with treatment requirements. What could have been done differently to prevent this tragedy? 3 little girls deserved to grow up and chase their own dreams. Their mother deserves closure after losing everything that mattered most to her. And communities deserve to know that those accused of destroying so many innocent lives can no longer threaten others. If you have any information about Travis Decker's whereabouts, authorities urge extreme caution. Do not approach. Call 911 immediately. The search for Travis Decker continues across America. But the questions this case raises about our systems, our safeguards, and our ability to protect the most vulnerable among us remain unanswered. Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker should be in school right now, laughing with friends and planning their futures. Instead, their story serves as a tragic reminder that sometimes the greatest danger comes from those we trust the most. Their memory demands that we never stop asking the hard questions about how we can do better. What would you have done in Whitney's position? Where do we draw the line between trust and caution when it comes to protecting our children? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health issues or thoughts of violence, please seek help immediately.
If you enjoy deep dives into true crime, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Until next time, friends!